What were we going about?
Nazis built the pyramids,
The
the
Nazis
aliens started the Holocaust. It's just...
We're talking about serial killers today. They're ghosts.
It's only going to get worse from here. Alright, there we go. We're going. We're rolling.
Going 70 and then you hit a deer.
Dumb ways to ride. Oh, man. Let me turn that down just a little bit.
Yeah, you're a little fuzzy.
That's a little too much.
I'm going to eat this cookie. Listen. Can you
So,
hear that?
yeah, you can hear all that. So, welcome everybody to The Calling Couple. I am your host, Gage, along with my other wonderful host.
Sage.
Thank you.
You saw me eating this cookie, man.
Well, you know what? That's not my fault that you got your mouth full all the time. It's usually with my dick. So, today we're really just going to be talking about life and how badly it fucking sucks, man.
It sucks, man.
It just fucking sucks. Like, well. So, for some of you guys that may not know, I had been in a wreck just a couple weeks ago, and it fucking sucked. It really has sucked pretty fucking bad. And man, I'm glad I'm alive and still able to be here to continue podcasting and all that kind of stuff. But
Me too.
holy hell,
'Cause I definitely wouldn't be doing it without you.
Yeah, it really fucking sucked. So I'm gonna kind of explain the story to you guys and let you hear some of this stuff. But by the way, just so you know, it's gonna be a little graphic. So if you're kind of queasy about some shit or anything like that,
You wouldn't even be at this podcast if you were queasy about shit, guys.
Yeah, 'cause
We've talked about worse.
Yeah, we have talked about worse, but I mean, for anybody that's just now joining in, just know that this is going to be a little graphics for you. So what had happened was I was on my way to work, and it was about 3:50 in the morning, and I'm heading to work, and holy hell, it was a beautiful fucking morning, barely any wind out. It was nice, 60 degrees, so... I mean, I still wore my sweatshirt and my hoodie and my Carhartt, and then so I go to the store. I get some coffee, and as I'm heading out the store, there's this car parked next to my bike, and I was like, okay. And, they were checking my bike out and all, and I was like, oh, all right, cool. Like kind of made me feel good because bikers love when people check their bikes out.
Oh yeah.
And so. I ended up leaving the store, and I made it about, I would say, almost 20 miles before this wreck happened. And I'm about 4 miles away from the wreck about to happen, right? And I'm sitting there just looking around, feeling the weather and all, and I'm like, man, this is really gorgeous morning weather to ride.
And then you jinxed yourself.
Yeah, well, then I was like, oh, shit. This is also really good weather for fucking deer to be out and about.
Mm-hmm.
And I shit you not, once I thought of that, 4 miles down the road, I see this deer on the side of the road. Now, it looked like it was over on the side of the road, and it looked like it was about to go back down into the creek line that it came out of. So I saw it, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to try to speed up to get past it as quickly as I can, hope that it goes down to the creek. And I took my eyes off of it for just a second, and I got up to about 70 miles an hour, which is like 5 over the speed limit. And the next thing I know, I see the deer's torso right in front of me. Have you been in an accident caused by wildlife? Enjoying a beautiful cruise and some young buck jumps out in front of you? Did they put you in the hospital and total your ride? Are you stressing on if that critter had insurance? Well, don't fret. The law office of Gage and Sage, we will make sure that you get taken care of. We will fight for your right to sue that animal for all it has to compensate you. We will fight tooth and hoof to get that settlement as soon as possible. By the time we're done with your case, your wallet won't be the only thing that is stuffed. Give us a visit at your local Buck and Reels today to find out how you can get help. Don't let the wildlife get away with ruining your life. and all of a sudden, I fucking hit that deer square in its torso. It threw me over the bike and over the deer. And I remember every bit of this. This is what sucked. I didn't get knocked out for any of it.
Do you wish you had?
Oh fuck yes, I do. Oh my god.
Well, actually no, because then you would have knocked out in the middle of the road.
I would have, and that's where I'm kind of glad I didn't.
Yeah.
But I remember flying through the air, and I remember seeing the ground, close my eyes, and hit, and then I'm sliding, and the beanie I was wearing, because it was still a little chilly so I wore a beanie, and the beanie I was wearing got ripped off my head, and I wasn't wearing a helmet, which was stupid on my part, because before I left the house, I was looking at my helmet like, nah.
Ways to ride.
Right. So I hit the ground, my head hits the ground, and it ripped my eyebrow open and split it, or ripped it down a little bit, and I was wearing my gloves, and I used my left hand to push my head up off the ground to get it away from there, and I'm still spinning and sliding at the same time, and I lost my glove, got a little bit of road rash in my hand, and at this point I had kind of flipped myself onto my right side, and I can feel the road rash. Like
You could already feel the road rash?
Yeah, at this point my feet, like the way I'm sliding, my feet are ahead of me, sliding in the direction of where I'm sliding to as I'm spinning. So my hoodie and my jacket lift up, and I'm getting all of this road rash. And then I continue to slide, and I ended up on my left butt cheek, and it gave me some road rash there. But I look over, and I see the bike sliding next to me, and I'm like, oh shit! Like I'm feeling the sparks.
Coming to get ya.
Yeah, I'm feeling sparks on me and shit. Like I could feel all of that, and I'm just like, oh fuck. So it was too close for me. So I kind of took my right foot and kicked myself away from the bike, and then I came to a stop. And when I finally came to a stop, I got blood in my eyes. I can barely see. It's dark out.
Your glasses are gone.
Yeah, my glasses are gone, and I look down, and it feels like my right arm is across my torso, and I'm looking to make sure, and I don't see my right arm. And I'm like, oh shit. The first thing that went through my mind was, fuck, my arm is ripped off. But luckily I looked over to the side of me, and I could see my arm is just plopped over, like just hanging there.
Yeah, so you really thought it had been ripped off?
Yeah, I really did. I thought it was gone. I was like, Jesus. Oh fuck.
That must have been scary.
Oh, it was. But so I just happened to look over to my left, and I see a white hash line, like what you would see in the middle of the road.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh fuck, I'm in the middle of the road. I need to get the fuck get off this highway before I get hit.
Oh yeah, because they wouldn't have been able to see you.
No,
not at that time of day.
No, and I mean, as fast as people are going, and
yeah, it was pitch black out
like,
there.
Yeah, you would see the deer before you would see me, and you wouldn't see the bike because the bike's down the road a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you would see the bike too late.
Yeah, I slid probably about 80 yards.
And the bike slid farther.
Yeah, so but I see the white hash line, and I'm like, oh fuck. Well, I tried to use my right arm to help push, but I couldn't lift it. And then all of a sudden, I feel this bone sticking out the back of my bicep.
Ugh.
Yeah, and it's still inside the jacket. My glove was still on my hand, which saved this entire arm of road rash, which is...
Yeah, you busted the arm that didn't get any road rash.
Yeah, no road rash, but the side of it did, but the bone broke. So now I'm having to use my legs and my left arm to slide or crawl myself off to the side of the road. And I get off on the side of the road where they have those little brrrr things.
Oh, yeah. And
I turn my body just enough off to the side of the road where I'm laying parallel with the white line, and as I'm crawling, I can feel the bone just flopping my arm around as I'm dragging it. That is the weirdest fucking feeling in the world.
I bet that is.
It was just so weird.
Yeah.
But the weirdest feeling was once I got to the side of the road and settled, the bone slid back into my arm.
Ew.
Yeah, I felt it just go. Yep.
We made the same sound effect.
Just right back in there, and I'm just like, oh my god. And then I see headlights, and I'm like, okay, I'm good.
You just
And
wave them down.
I'm trying to wave them. I'm screaming for help, like anything to get anybody to stop.
Oh.
And I had 4 cars pass me.
Oh, fuck.
I probably laid there for like 8 minutes with 4 cars past me, no one stopping.
Oh, okay. I thought it was longer than that. Thank God.
Yeah, but I mean, still 4 people going by me, not stopping.
Yeah.
And
You probably were thinking no one was going to stop.
yeah, that was the longest 8 minutes of my life.
I bet.
I mean, it really was, because I mean, I had so much go through my head. I thought about you. I thought about our kids. I thought about a lot of family and friends that I was not going to be able to see anymore, and it was very, very stressful. But luckily, somebody did stop, and she was an EMT on her way to work.
Oh, cool.
And I got very lucky on that. She rushed over to help me and trying to keep me still, which I'm like, I knew better than to move. I mean, I have no medical training whatsoever, but that's something that I've always heard is once you're in an accident, stay still as much as possible, and that's what I tried to do. The only thing I was moving was my left leg, which it had a little bit of road rash on my knee, but my left leg was fine. So I was moving it to kind of help ease myself of the amount of pain I was in. And then the second person to stop was a fire rescue on his way to work. So I had 2 medically trained people who had stopped, and I got real lucky on that.
And then with how hurt you were, I can't imagine having to crawl off the road like that.
Yeah, and that was well, I mean, the adrenaline hit kicked in. That it was just like I had no.
Yeah.
I didn't really care. I mean, I felt the pain, but it was one of those. It was either deal with the pain and get off the road, or sit there and hope that no one hits me.
Oh yeah.
And I had one semi pass me while I was waving people down, so I'm glad I didn't stay on the road.
Oh yeah. You would have been obliterated.
Oh.
No matter the vehicle, honestly.
Yeah. Because I knocked the deer off the side of the road, so it wouldn't be like they would hit the deer first, then come to a stop or anything like that. So they were sitting there, they were keeping me calm, they were trying to assess me and stuff. And then that car that I saw at the gas station, they stopped, and they come running up, and they're like, "Hey, what can we do? How can we help you?" and all this and that. And I was like, "Call my wife." And they're like, what's your wife's name? And I tell them, and they ended up calling you.
Yeah.
And that,
I remember that.
That was, I was so grateful for that, because, I mean, I got these people trying to assess me.
Me too. I can't imagine getting the phone call from the fucking hospital.
Yeah. Yeah, and that, I mean, I was so coherent enough that I was able to give them your number off the top of my head. And
the name and all that.
Yeah, I was able to give people all the information I needed. And it took about, I would say, close to 25 minutes before, because I'm on a back highway. Like, they could get some paramedics there, but it would have taken them some time, because like the closest paramedic was either our town or in the city, which is 30 miles apart from each other, so it took them a while. So they
technically you were in the middle of nowhere.
Mm-hmm. And it took them a while to get there to me. And when they finally did, they got me in the ambulance. They luckily the lady that was taking care of me while I was in the bus, she was like, "Hey, I'm gonna take your boots off because I don't want to cut these off. They're pretty nice boots."
Okay,
and I was like, "Thank you."
Yeah, that was nice.
And but everything else had to be cut off besides my belt. My belt and my boots were the only things that they saved. I lost my favorite hoodie that I won at a charity raffle at a bike rally, so I was kind of upset about that. But at the same time,
that's her name.
Megan. Yes, Megan. She was the EMT that had the first person to stop.
That stopped.
Yeah,
her name was Megan.
The EMT in the bus though, and this is where it really started to suck, because I have a hard time having my veins getting pricked. So getting an IV in me is not easy. So it was probably about a 18-minute ride to OU Medical from where I was to get there. And they couldn't get an IV in me, so there was no pain medicine to help. There was nothing
They
to.
got you there in 18 minutes.
Yeah, and it felt forever, but I'm pretty sure it was like 18 minutes.
Okay. I think it'll be longer than that.
No, they fly. They fly as fast as they can.
I beat y'all there, so.
Well, so I have no medication. I'm having to feel all of this on the road, like the stops and goes and all that, and the turns. And every time they would stop and go or turn, it felt like the bone was sliding back out of my arm. Oh man, that hurts so bad.
Ugh.
And then we get to the hospital. And the EMT in the bus, she was just like, you are being a fucking trooper. Like, you are really handling this very well with no medication or anything. And like, I'm looking at the guy that's driving. I'm like, can you please take it easy on this shit, because it feels like my arm is sliding in and out and shit. And she's like, hey, he's doing the best he can, but you know.
Well, I thought when you got to the ER, they told you to quit screaming.
When I did get to the ER is when they started moving me, and
Yeah.
that's when the pain was really fucking kicking in. My adrenaline started wearing down, and the pain just started getting in there. Plus, they're fucking lifting me up, tossing me and turning me, and all this and that. And at this point, I don't know how the condition of my elbow and all that kind of stuff. So I mean, all I know is it's in an immense amount of pain. I have no pain medication in me to help dull it to where
So you're just screaming in agony.
Oh yeah, I'm literally fucking hurting. Like, and they did.
Oh, I imagine you are.
Oh yeah.
I'm not saying you're not hurting.
And when I did get in there, I was screaming, and they were like, "Sir, you need to stop screaming. You need to calm down." And I looked at them and I said, "Fuck you. You get into this fucking wreck and you tell me how this pain feels. Until then, I'll scream as much as I need to until you get some fucking drugs in me right now, because I am dying. I am hurting." And so they finally gave me some medication. They gave me, I can't remember what it was, but they gave me something to kind of help calm me down. I was like, okay, cool. It didn't get rid of all the pain, but it helped subside it a little bit to where I can be tolerable.
Mm-hmm.
And then I sat there and I was like, is my wife here? They were like, yeah. I was like, bring her back here. And that's when you came back there. You want to describe what you saw when you came back?
A bloody mess.
Yeah.
Your clothes cut to ribbons all over the ground. There's bloody footprints all over the ground. You're dripping over there. I can see your whole, like, that road rash is just a bloody mess. So, from my point of view, it wasn't road rash. Your guts were falling out your side. That's what my mind said. My mind was like, oh, the side of his body is gone. And then I finally make it over to you. And, like you said, they had to sew back up your eyebrow and all that. So when I walked up to you, it was hanging down over your eye. You had your eye swollen closed. You got a neck brace on, and you're just covered in blood. When I first walked up, I did get a glimpse of your elbow, and I could see the bone sticking out, and I was just like, and then I kept walking around you, like trying to get stay out of the doctor's way, because there was a bunch of nurses and stuff around you.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm just like, this is, oh my God, he's dying. He's dying in front of me. Oh my God. A cop walks up and all that, and he's like trying to talk to you. And I'm just like, why are you, like, in my head, I'm just like, why is this guy trying to talk to my husband? He's obviously going to be, he's obviously going to be totally out of it. And I finally make it up to you right before the officer does. And all I hear you say is, I hope that deer's got good insurance. And I'm just like, oh God, okay, that's my husband. There he is.
Yeah, I really was trying to make jokes and stuff, because I didn't want to think about how severe it really was, because I mean, I didn't want the reality of it to set in just yet. Like, I was trying everything I could.
I'm really glad you did, because you looked like a fucking nightmare to me.
Yeah.
And I did not need you to be that weak.
Yeah.
Because I was weak in that moment. I was like, oh my God, my husband's dying. And then you say that, and it made me feel instantly better. And then when you, later on that night, when you were in pain and all that, I was like, okay, my turn to be the strong person.
Now, they had asked you to leave because they needed to clean the road rash and send me in for some CAT scans and
Yeah.
MRIs and
They
stuff.
only let me back there because you had asked.
Yeah.
They didn't want me there. I was in the way.
Yeah. And I was so glad when I saw you. Like that was an immense amount of relief to see you. That it really helped. It made me realize that you were here and I was gonna be okay and all that.
I'm saying, like, I don't know how long did it take before I showed up there? Like, how long were you in the emergency room before you saw me?
Oh God, I don't know. I mean,
Because I'm just like, I feel like I sat there forever.
my time frame was so messed up. I had no idea.
And also, I was just so worried about seeing you. Like, 5 minutes could have felt like an hour to me, honestly.
Like I remember 3:50 in the mornings when the wreck happened.
Mm-hmm.
I know it had to have been then. And then in the bus on the way to the hospital, my 4:30 alarm goes off. That's usually when I arrive to work, and so I know it took a while, and I was still in the middle of transport to the hospital during that time when my 4:30 alarm went off.
You were still in the ambulance when your 4:30 alarm went off.
Mm-hmm.
I was at your car wreck. I mean, I was at your motorcycle wreck at 4:38. So I was 8 minutes behind you.
Yeah. So we so they ask you to leave the room, and they had to get the road rash cleaned on my right side and all over. And they of course they're flipping me around. They're trying to do all this and that.
Yeah, they had to make sure you
And they gave me some drugs at this point, like to really dope me up, to move me. And
Yeah.
I guess I had a bad trip because it was around this point where I was in and out. This was the
Okay.
only time I was really in and out. And
when they were trying to do like scans and stuff.
well, no, they were just trying to clean the road rash up so I can go to do the.
Oh, right. This is when I was out there.
Yeah, and so the drugs affected me so weirdly that I didn't know where I was, and that's a bad thing for me because, I mean,
I know.
you know, but
I'm
our
saying,
listeners
explain
don't.
it to them. Yeah, I know.
Like, you can't wake me up whenever I'm asleep. Like, you can't be near me because I freak out, and I don't know why, but it's just one of those. You just don't need to be near me whenever I'm sleeping because I might swing, and that was the issue they were having because I was going in and out of consciousness. That they were flipping me around. Even on those drugs, the pain in my arm was so bad that I was waking up wanting to fight.
Yeah, you have PTSD.
And I don't know if I'd call it PTSD, but it would be some trauma. That
Post traumatic stress disorder. If you've had traumatic experiences being woken up when you were younger, you can have post traumatic stress disorder from that. PTSD isn't just about war; it's about trauma.
Well, so they're flipping me around even on these drugs, and I'm in and out. I felt the pain in my arm that I remember snapping to and trying to grab a hold of somebody. And then I remember them saying, like, he's trying to kick us and, like, he is fighting us and all this and that. But the trip in my mind was so fucking weird.
Do you remember it?
Vaguely. Like, but I just remember it was a bad fucking trip. And I remember waking up and they had me on my side, on my elbow and all that, so they can clean my buttocks from the road rash and all.
Buttocks.
And it really fucking felt weird that it felt like I was falling. I felt like I was falling off the bed, and I looked at the nurse like, I'm falling. She's like, no, you're on the bed, you're okay. And I'm like, bitch, I'm about to fall off the fucking bed. Like, what the fuck's going on? And then I pass back out, and then I wake up again, and I freak out even harder because I'm like, where the fuck am I? What's going on?
Your adrenaline was fighting the drugs.
Yeah, and like, so that was, I remember waking up going, where the fuck am I? And they're like, you're at the hospital, you're fine. And I'm like, they're like, do you remember what happened? I'm like, yes, now I remember what happened. Like, it took me a second to realize where I was at. And then they took me back to go get CAT scans, MRI, and every time I went through that fucking MRI machine, they would move me in and out to scan my entire body and stuff.
Yeah.
And my elbow kept hitting the fucking machine.
Oh.
And I'm sitting there just like, oh, how much fucking longer is this going to be? This fucking hurts. And they're just like, "Sir, can you please calm down?" I'm like,
The
"My
morning.
elbow is hitting the fucking machine." And so they send me back into the room. They're moving me around some more, checking my spine and all that kind of stuff. And then I remember the doctor coming in, and after the CAT scan and MRI came through, and he looks at me and he goes, "Were you wearing a helmet?" I said, "No." He goes, "You are one of the luckiest motherfuckers I've ever seen come into this ER. After having a wreck like that, you are one of the luckiest motherfuckers I've ever seen because you have no signs of head trauma or spinal injuries. You should be
That's really,
paralyzed."
really lucky, babe.
Yeah, they're like, you should be paralyzed. People, I've seen guys come in here on motorcycle wrecks at 35 miles an hour become paralyzed. You are lucky as fuck.
Mm-hmm.
And
That's true. You are.
yeah, and that's when you had overheard the nurses talking about
Yeah,
a
the
guy,
other guy.
the
Yeah,
guy
so
before
sad.
me.
Mhm.
Like, what was it, like an hour before I came in?
Yeah.
Um,
About, I think an hour before is when he had finally passed. I think it was that earlier that night.
Yeah, there was a guy that had the same incident,
Mm-hmm.
wrecked into a deer, and he was wearing a helmet, but he didn't make it. And I remember hearing you tell me that, and all the thoughts about me just went out the window. I was more concerned about him and his family, and
Yeah.
and all that. And
It was there was like you and maybe 3 other people in the ER that night. And so I know everyone in that waiting room that was waiting was probably for him.
yeah, it was that one really fucked me up to where I started, like I said, I started worrying about him and his family more than I was worried about myself at the time. And then they kept coming in and out, giving me some drugs and stuff because the stuff they were giving me just kept wearing off to where I was back in immense pain. And finally, they just kept me on a consistent dosage to where I could be tolerable and I wasn't screaming. And I think it was about 6 hours after my wreck, they finally were like, "Okay, we're going to get you ready for surgery." And at this time, my brother showed up and came and seen me for a little bit and gave you a break so you can go get you some food and all that, and then get ready to be ready for me to come out of surgery.
Yeah.
And I remember getting up into the surgery room and seeing the x-ray of my arm, and damn, that I destroyed.
I have not seen it.
I destroyed my arm. Not only did, like, if for the viewers that are listening, extend your arm out. The bone on your forearm on the outside, that shot out the back of my bicep. That broke off my wrist and at the elbow and shot out the back of my arm. And that's what was protruding and what was dragging.
So your bone was just floating around in your arm now? 'Cause
Yeah.
It wasn't attached to anything?
Mm-hmm.
Woo.
And then the other bone on the forearm broke only at the elbow. But then the 2 bones on my bicep by the elbow broke off. So everything around the elbow is broken.
Mm.
And then the elbow itself is just shattered. So
Yeah, they would replace the pieces of it.
yeah, they actually went in during surgery and put in a couple plates and several fucking pins to reconstruct my elbow. So I basically have a whole new elbow now after that wreck. And that's really all the damage that I received out of this wreck. That's why I say I'm very fucking lucky and fortunate of what my injuries are.
With how broken your arm, with how broken your arm was, you're lucky it didn't come off.
Yeah, I really am. Like,
Because like with everything around your elbow being broken,
mm,
the only thing keeping your arm on your arm was your skin.
my muscles and my skin.
Your muscle and skin. Like that's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Like every single bone around there just snapped.
Yeah, and
I can't imagine that shit.
And I could feel the bones clacking each other inside my elbow and shit. Yeah, it was so weird feeling. But then they sent me into surgery, and I mean, what they say, it was like 2 hours after I went, like they gave me.
They took you back for surgery, And then finally, like 2 hours later, I finally get a call, and I'm thinking you're out of surgery. And it's like, hey, we're letting you know that he just went down, and he told us to call you when he finally was ready for surgery. And I'm like, wait, so he hasn't even gone in for surgery yet? They're like, oh no, we've been having a problem getting him under anesthesia. He's just fighting it. And I'm like, yeah, that sounds right.
But I don't remember shit. I just remember, I remember seeing the X-rays, and then I was just like, damn, I really fuck.
You're probably looking for the street name of that.
I don't know.
This shit's good. What's the street name for this?
But then I remember waking up, and I had a catheter in, and I'm looking around trying.
No one wants to hear about your catheter issues.
That's a weird fucking feeling, having a catheter, man. Like, oh my god, that. And it was a weirder feeling having it taken out. I was like, oh. But no, I mean, I woke up, and then they were like, hey, are you doing all right? Do you need to throw up or anything? I'm like, no, I'm just wanting to know where my wife is. And they're like, well, she'll be up in the room when we take you up there and all that. And I was like, okay. And took me up to the room, and
there I was waiting for you.
Yep.
Where the fuck are you in?
Right. And I will say this, that I had some of the worst experiences at OU Medical. Some of the nurse staff in there they weren't even bitches. Like, they were to the point where they could be classified with the C word, and I'm not going to say it, but they were. I mean, you were with me on that, and you can definitely attest to how bad.
They were fucking awful, man. Like, I don't know if you want me to say this, but I'm gonna say this. I've never seen you cry.
Oh man, no!
But I saw you cry in that hospital
because I was in that much pain.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen you cry like at a funeral or some shit, but I've never seen you cry because of pain.
Yeah.
I've seen you get mad about pain, but I've never seen you genuinely in so much pain that it brought tears to your eyes.
It really did.
That's just a different type of pain, man.
Mm-hmm. And it really did. Like, it hurt so bad because they weren't staying on the schedule of my medication.
Yeah.
Like, there was a point where I went 2 hours writhing in an immense amount of pain.
Like, crying and screaming and, like literally writhing. Like, the body movements and all that. Just, like, in fucking pain. Like, and we're just pushing the nurse button over and over. And I'm going out in the hallway just for, like, can anyone help him? They're like, we'll let your nurse know. We'll let your nurse know. And then I'm thinking she knows by now. Where the fuck is she?
And then when she came in, I'm sitting there fucking writhing in pain and crying and shit. And she's like, can you please calm down? You need to calm down.
Yeah, this bitch was like, to tell him to calm down.
I was like, fuck you. I am fucking hurting you. Like, this fucking hurts. I remember sitting there saying, why don't you have your fucking arm broken like this, and then you tell me how it fucking feels. And so she finally gives me the medication. But I will say this. I did get a nurse that went above and beyond.
Oh, yeah, Ricky.
Ricky was the fucking best.
Yeah, she was amazing. She took such good care of you.
When I told her about how I was treated by the other nurses, she fucking went above and beyond. She went and got her boss, and
she got the higher ups involved in the situation.
Oh yeah, and once they got involved, I didn't have a bad experience after that. Like, every single nurse was on their fucking A game, and I will say it's all thanks to her that she really did take care of me. But I think that's the most people have seen my dick in a week span.
That's the most you've been naked in front of people you weren't fucking.
Yeah. And I'm sitting there trying to be so courteous of, like, covering myself up. And they're like, it's okay, sir, it's okay. I'm like...
It's mostly for my dignity, not for you.
Yeah, it's like... It's already bad enough you're seeing my fucking white ass. You don't need to see my dick too. Like, come on now. But no, I mean it was some of it was horrible experiences. The doctor himself was a fucking douchebag.
Yeah, fuck that douchebag.
Like, he was a fucking douche. Like, he would come in and just be like, so how you feeling today? And he walked in at one point where my pain medication was wearing off. Like, I've been going for an hour without any medication, so I'm starting to hurt. Mm-hmm. And he walks in and seeing me on the side of the bed just rocking because I'm hurting. And he's like, oh, it looks like you're in some pain. all right, well, I'll see you tomorrow. I was like, are you fucking serious? Like, you're not gonna be like, hey, can we get somebody in here to take care of this? Or,
Nope.
nope. And yeah, so OU Medical is not a hospital I'd recommend going to for anybody. I mean, you got some good staff there,
I mean,
but a lot of them are
if you
fucking
need
horrible.
emergency surgery, that's kind of where you have to go.
Yeah, yeah, but I mean, Jesus Christ, it's fucking just horrible, all in all. I mean, if it wasn't for Ricky getting her boss involved, where her boss gave me her number to say, hey, if they're doing anything wrong again, you call me directly and
And
I'll
that's just
fucking take care of it.
yeah, that's just the hospital mishaps and struggle, man.
Yeah, that's not
Like,
even.
not even counting the shit that happened when we got out. Oh my god,
Yeah, and like,
life is just a shit show, man.
yeah, and then we're dealing with all this stuff with the insurances of medical and auto and all this and that. And I'm gonna say this right now. I think this is fucking stupid. That if I'm paying all the time, every paycheck, they take money for insurance and all that kind of stuff, and I have to pay out of my own pocket for my own personal auto insurance and shit. I shouldn't have to pay deductibles. I shouldn't have to pay for anything. My money that I'm paying you for you to take care of me should be 100% covered, so you can make sure my ass gets back and healthy to get back to work to continue to pay you. That is where I look at it. Not this whole, oh well, you know we covered this much, but now you got to pay $18,000 out of your own pocket to cover the rest of it. Like, okay, I got fucking $18,000 to just take care of that. Sure, no
Yeah,
fucking
totally.
problem.
Yeah.
Like, come on now. Like, if I'm paying you this money and you're taking it out of my fucking check, you might as well just say, hey, we got you covered completely. We'll take care of you as long as you are able to go back to work and continue to pay us. Cool. So I mean, that's where I look at it. Fucking insurance. It's like, if you're paying it, you might as well get the full 100% coverage of every fucking bit of it, and then they that way you can get back to your livelihood and continue to be able to go back and pay them instead of paying them for only a certain amount of percentage and then still having to pay more out of your own pocket, making it harder for you to fucking live. So that's really all I'm gonna say on that shit. But
That's all.
yeah,
I want to talk about the fucking doctor appointments,
the doctor.
the medication issues.
Oh man. Okay. So I'll talk about that. So the
Like the
medication.
two very, very unnecessary doctor appointments.
Okay. So here's where this doctor is a bigger douchebag at OE Medical. Besides him just walking out on me when I was arriving in pain, was he told me that the only way I could be discharged is if I see my primary doctor. I was like, okay, cool. So I called my doctor and I said, hey, I need to set an appointment. And they're like, okay, not a problem. So I tell them that. And I'm like, hey, I got an appointment set up, so I should be good to be discharged. He's like, yeah. Then he comes back in there with the paper and hands it to Sage and says, okay, here's an appointment for him. So we're thinking this is a follow-up for my surgical. And so I go and see my primary doctor. Well, as soon as I go in there, she comes in and she immediately, like, once I got in the room and they talked to me about what's going on and what I'm there for, of like just getting my pain management set up, she immediately walks in and goes, I can't help you. Legally, I can't help you because of the DEA and this is a narcotic. I cannot fucking help you. We do not prescribe those here, but right across the street, these doctors can. We can help you get set up with an appointment there, all this and that. Now, I will say this, she was very blunt, which at that time I wasn't ready for because I had been writhing in pain, which I'm going to get into more detail of why. But so I wasn't ready for it, but she did help me out by getting that set up for me to go and see this doctor. And of course, Sage helped set the appointment as well to confirm it. Now, before we left the hospital, we had the doctor had set it up. So during my leave until my doctor's appointment, I would have some medication to help out with the pain management until my appointment. And so he set me out with some Oxycontin and some muscle relaxers. And the pharmacist at OU Medical called Walmart. That's usually that's where I used to go and get all my prescriptions and stuff. So they called it over, and Walmart tried to call them back immediately. It was like, hey, we don't do Oxycontin. We don't do any of that stuff because that's just, we're not allowed to do that no more. We could do the muscle relaxer, but we can't do the other stuff. So I ended up calling Walmart, and they told me that. So I ended up calling the OU pharmacist back and said, hey, can we have it transferred to this pharmacy and be set there? And she goes, yes, I've already got it transferred. You're good to go. Now, Sage, you went to Walmart and picked up my muscle relaxer there.
Yep.
And then you went to the other pharmacy thinking that you were picking up the Oxycontin.
Yeah.
And so from Thursday till Saturday, now these pills were 2 different colors. So we're thinking that
they were 2 different. One was the muscle relaxer and one was the Oxy. That's what I thought.
Right. And then Saturday night, I, for some reason, just got up to look at the pills, and I seen that both bottles were the same medication. They were both muscle relaxers. They were both the exact same medication, just 2 different colors. And I was like, oh, fuck.
We never got the Oxy.
Yep, never got the Oxy. And this is Easter weekend, so...
Yeah, there was no one to call. There was no one to fix it.
So from Thursday until Monday morning, all I had was muscle relaxers, and that was not doing a whole lot for the pain. Like, it helped with soothing the muscles, but not the actual pain that the bones had.
Yeah.
And Monday morning, I called the other pharmacy, and I was like, hey, before I get a hold of OU, did they happen to send the prescription for Oxycontin? They were like, yes. It's been here since Thursday. And I'm like, why the fuck didn't you give me a phone call?
Like, why didn't you call and say it was ready?
Yeah, like nothing. They didn't do any of that. And they're like, yeah, it's ready to go. And
yeah,
I'm
when
like,
I went there to go pick it up, why didn't they give it to me if it was ready on Thursday?
I know. And that was so fucking ridiculous. But I was like, thank God. So went in there, picked him up, and fucking finally got some relief on the pain. So for about four days, I was just sitting there in pain. And then the next day we went and see my primary doctor, and that's when she was like, no, we don't do that. So Wednesday, we got to go see the other doctor.
I finally got into the doctor that actually could help you.
Yes.
Finally got things set up there.
And man, he was helpful. He was very helpful. He was in and out. Like, yep, we got you set up. We'll see you in a week to see how things are going.
Keep everything managed. Yeah.
Yep. And then we did that. Well, the same day after seeing that doctor, we had to go back to OU to check or to see about the surgical.
The surgical follow-up.
So we drive all the way out there, which
is an hour from home.
Yeah, it's a good drive, and we get all the way out there, and we sit in the waiting room because we're early, so we're sitting in there
early birds like to be early for things.
Yeah, we're sitting there for an hour and a half waiting, and then all of a sudden we get back in the room. And in about another 20 minutes, the doctor comes in, and we're talking to him for a second. And
he's saying all the same things that your primary just said.
Yeah, saying everything the same thing. Like, and we're like, no, we already did this morning. And he's like, hold up, you did? He's like, yeah, I already saw my primary doctor. And he's like,
you've already seen a primary? And we're like, yeah, we're here for a surgical follow-up. And he goes, I'm a primary care doctor. This is not surgical. I'm not surgical. And we're just like, he's like, well, what did your paperwork say? I'm like, it literally said I had an appointment here. It didn't say a doctor's name. Didn't say an office name. It just said this address at this time.
Mm-hmm.
And literally, it's all the appointment said.
Yeah, that's all it fucking said. And so he was like, no, man. Like, if you've already seen your primary, you don't need to fucking be here. This is just a waste of your time. And I was like, he was like, that doctor shouldn't have fucking done that if you already told him that you had an appointment with your primary.
Yeah, we told him we had a primary, and he went and set another primary for us.
Yeah.
Because I guess he didn't believe us or some shit.
I guess. And then, so the guy was like, well, let me try to see if we can get you set up with the surgical. And they couldn't get us in
because it wasn't their office day.
Right. So Sage is setting me up an appointment to try to get this looked at so I can have it looked at and start my physical therapy and see when I can get these staples out.
Yeah, I gotta figure out when you staples out, when you can lift something again.
Yeah, because my whole arm is just riddled with staples from the surgery scar and where the bone protruded out.
Yeah, you also gotta fill out that paperwork for your job.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
There's got so much shit left to do.
Yeah, there's a lot to do. I mean, I'm gonna be down for 3 months of just recovering and.
Like we'd say 3 months of rest and relaxation, but it ain't none of those things.
No, because they had me they had my arm wrapped up for the week that I was in the hospital, and the day I got discharged, they took it out and said, "Okay, it's time to start moving it." Like there was no cast, there's none of that. It was straight up time to start moving all your joints and stuff like that.
Or you will lose mobility.
Yep, and of course I won't have the full extension of my elbow anymore. Like. Mm-hmm. I'll get a good portion of it, but it'll never go completely straight.
Extended, yeah.
Yeah, and so that kind of sucks. But the biggest thing I've been getting, though, is a lot of love from friends and family, and I really appreciate it, guys. Yeah. Like, I love y'all, and I miss you, and definitely want to try to spend more time with you as much as I can. But the biggest question I keep getting is, are you going to get another motorcycle? And I'm just like, fuck yeah.
You're like, hell yeah.
I've got another one lined up right now. Like,
yeah. Say what my favorite thing you say about it.
What's that?
It's not the bike's fault.
Oh, yeah. No. And that's the thing, though, is like my brother came in and he asked me, he goes, so are you done riding? And I said, no, it's not the bike's fault. It was the deer's fault. Like, I would understand if, like, my bike had a malfunction or something and it was what laid me down. I might be a little bit more of like, but it wasn't. It was the deer that jumped out in front of me. It was the deer's fault that I got into that wreck. So that's why I'm just like, no, I want to get back on. I want to get another bike, and because my bike got totaled, it's gone. And I'm gonna post a picture of what it looked like before the accident, and you'll see what I mean, how much hard work I put into it, and it was my dream bike. I really fucking loved that bike. It was a bike that I worked so hard to get to, and I had her for 3 years, and then now it's not here anymore. I got to take her to Tennessee to do the Tail of the Dragon and all that. Like, I really had some good memories on her.
Yeah, you put a lot of love and effort into that thing.
And I put about 36,000 miles on her within 3 years. So, I mean, that I know some guys are like, oh, that's not a lot. And I'm like, that's still a lot more than most people. So,
like I said, a lot of love and effort.
Yeah.
But cuss words too.
Oh yeah, a lot of customization, cuss words, and all the maintenance I did myself. Like, there was only one other person that has ever touched that bike to do any maintenance, and that was because I couldn't figure it out and I really needed their help. But other than that, I did everything myself and never had a real mechanical issue with it. Like, besides the little odds and ends of how old it was and parts were just going out, and that's what sucks. Is all the electrical shit. The stator, the starter, the solenoid, the breaker switch, the voltage regulator, new battery, new ignition switch, all that shit, brand fucking new. Just got done putting it all in there within like 2 months before the wreck.
Oh, that's not the worst part. You just gotta pay it off.
Yeah, that's what sucks even worse. I just paid it off back in February. That was my final fucking payment.
Just updated the tag.
No, the tag wasn't updated yet.
Oh, it wasn't? Okay.
But I just got the lien release a week before the wreck. So I hadn't even got the title fully in my name and shit.
You just got done recovering from a tooth extraction?
Yeah, the tooth extraction.
Which is on our last podcast we talked about.
Yep, on the cult episode, you can hear how I got my tooth taken out. And then I spent the whole week recovering from that. And the next day after I was fully recovered, I get into the fucking wreck with the deer. And it's just been hit after hit after hit. And it's like, God.
Life is just one big ride, man.
Mm-hmm. But, I mean, so right now I'm trying to stay positive about it. I'm trying to keep my head up and really go from there. And hopefully get something good out of it. And this new bike that I'm looking at, a friend of mine, he builds bikes too, so he's gonna be good. He's gonna be tearing into it to make sure that it's really good and ready for me to be able to purchase it and take it on.
Maybe one of these days we can get him on the podcast.
I would actually try to see about that, but I talked to him about that one time, and he was just like, man, I don't know. I say some fucked up shit, and I'm like, good, bring it on, man, bring it on. So yeah, I mean, right now my arm's in a sling, doing little exercises here and there, and I'm really fucking tired of being laid up. I've been laid up for the last 2 weeks now, watching TV, and I'm just so fucking tired of it. God, I'm so tired of watching TV because I'm a person that likes to work. I like to work and do shit. I like to tinker. I can't tinker on shit.
I know, I can't even teach you how to crochet because you need both hands.
Well, actually, you don't need to teach me how to crochet. My mom taught me how to do that when I was a kid.
Yeah, but you suck at it. So.
That is true. All I can make is a scarf.
Yeah, half-assed at that.
Oh, fuck you.
It's all like warped and sideways and shit.
Shut up. That's called patterns. But no, man. I mean, but everybody that has been sending me thoughts and prayers, I appreciate it. I really do. I've had some really good friends reach out to me and help me out with it. Because the biggest thing is every now and then I'll have a quick snap right back into the impact of hitting that deer out of fucking nowhere. Like I'll be just fine. All of a sudden I'll have that flash.
Yeah, you have a flashback
of that, and then it'll jolt my body like I've been thrown again, and it sucks. But I mean, that's something that I can work out over time. But it definitely hasn't scared me from getting back on a bike. Like right now I'm making the jokes of I can close my hand just enough around the throttle to where I can ride, but my elbow won't let me.
Your elbow would never let you get on a bike.
It just
not
won't,
this soon.
It just won't let me do a lot of steering. So I'm kind of, but I'm antsy. I'm antsy to get back on a bike, man. I really am. So
I know.
I mean, if anything, if you guys are listening to this, the biggest takeaway of it is life's gonna happen. There's nothing you can do to stop it. There's nothing you can do to prevent anything. You just gotta live it and hope that you survive it. I mean, that's all life is just surviving and trying to find happiness. And I mean, just because this incident happened and has changed my perspective on some stuff, sure, I'm gonna be wearing a helmet.
Good.
I mean, I'm going to take a little bit more precautions about how I ride and all that kind of stuff, but it's not going to stop me completely. I mean, because if I stopped completely, then I let the fear of life get to me. And that's not the way you should live. You should actually live full throttle of just enjoying as much as you can and taking whatever it gives you the best possible way you can. So just enjoy life, man. Don't let the little shit scare you. I mean, we're all gonna die one day, but
might as well be today. I'm just joking.
Well, I was gonna say, like, I mean, we're all gonna die, but at the same time, can you lay your head down or look at it like this was a successful day, or I'm proud of where I am, you know? So just try to look at everything positively. And I know with the way this world and economy and all that kind of is going, that it's hard to find that, but keep your head up. I mean, I am. So, but other than that, that's really all I wanted to. I mean, I'm gonna really talk about on it. I'm kind of getting tired of
talking about it.
Yeah, telling individuals about it and all that kind of stuff. So I figured we'd just do a whole episode of my wreck and shit that...
And how it's going so far.
Yeah, and how it's going. And, of course, I've
only had 10 mental breakdowns since then.
Oh, my God, yeah. And, I mean, I haven't been able to sleep since the day of the wreck. Like, I have not gotten...
Like a full night's sleep? No, you haven't.
I mean, I'll probably go to bed about 8, wake up at 1, and I'm up.
And have to get up, yeah.
Yep. And that's because I try laying in my bed and my arm won't really let me do a whole night there. So I get up and go sit in my recliner, and that's where it feels better. So other than that, man, If you guys have some good stories, some like amazing feats and stuff like that,
Like you survived, man. I want to hear about it.
I do. I want to hear I want to hear your stories. I want to hear. It doesn't have to be motorcycle. It doesn't have to be auto. It doesn't. It could be anything. You guys can hit us up at the Calling Couple Pod, callingcouplepod at gmail.com, and or you can leave us a comment down below. Or you can even come follow us and talk to us on our DMs on the Calling Couple Podcast on Instagram.
Sweet.
And you can come follow us over there, and you can leave us a DM of a story over there, and we can talk to you on that. But other than that, I think we're really just going to call this one a day, because I'm ready to get out of this chair and go back to my recliner and do a little bit of stretching and a little bit of relaxing on my arm, because it's starting to hurt being in the sling for this long.
Yeah, this hard chair is not doing too many favors for me.
Yeah. I know we need to get some better chairs one of these days.
Yeah, we need some nice chairs.
Yeah, get some like badass like.
We need to sit back and be like, all right, nesty chairs.
No, I was
and
thinking.
we can call this whole corner. We can get a neon sign right here that says the nest. Because we're the Calling Couple.
Yeah.
And you can say on air underneath it.
Ooh, see, and so guys, we are trying to work on getting some, thinking about doing some YouTube lives one of these days.
Ooh, that'd be fun.
But we're working on getting a camera for this computer so we can do all that and do some YouTube lives and be able to let you guys see us, and we can talk about some shit on there and have some good conversations and shit. Like, I think that'd be fun.
Conversations.
Yep, and I think it would be fun. I think that'd be a good time, and then have everybody be able to come on there and just bullshit with us when they can, and really go from there. But man, we got, like I said, we got some ideas like this one.
We got too many ideas. Help me out.
Yep, right. We still have our list of subjects that we're going to be doing, but today was more of just
getting it off the chest.
Yeah, getting off the chest and really just talking about this stuff, because a lot of our followers are our friends and family that probably want to hear this story in a little bit more depth and detail. And
I am mentally exhausted, y'all.
Oh, Sage, honestly, you have been the biggest lifesaver for me. I mean, absolutely. Like, you guys have no idea how much this woman has done for me.
Oh, babe.
That she God, not only did she get me clean off of drugs.
Oh, gosh, you're going that far back.
Yeah, like 8 years ago, I got clean, and she sat there with me through thick and thin of doing all this. And then now having to help take care of me, especially because, like, right now I'm just now starting to get to where I can tend to myself, where I can actually start dressing myself on my own and doing a lot of that stuff.
Yeah, you did pretty good this morning.
Yeah, but for the most part, since my wreck, you've been right there taking care of me every step of the way, and it's just...
The stuff in the hospital was the worst, though.
Yeah. But I mean, you've been right there. You've been so tough. You've been the tremendous amount of help, and I could never ask anybody to do that. But you just step up and do it.
Take those vows at your wedding for a reason.
That is very true.
There's a reason they're vows, you know.
So I honestly got to say, I love you so much, and I'm so glad that I have you, because, man, I'd be. I don't know what I would do right now if I didn't have you.
Man. I love you too.
But other than that, guys, thank you for joining in, and stay tuned, because we're gonna get back on topic now after this episode, and get back to what we were doing before, and try to liven it up a little bit. So other than that, I have said what I said, especially on the fucking insurance bullshit. And,
stupid insurance.
And if you're out there living life, just live it to the fullest. Be happy with where you're at. Don't overexert yourself. And, okay, I guess we're going to go for my old channel and what I used to say over there.
Yeah, it's relevant to the conversation.
And if you're out there living life, keep those throttles locked, those tires hot, but never ever forget. Try to keep that rubber down. And, Sage, you got anything?
Going 70 and then you see a deer.
Dumb ways to ride. All right, man. We will check you guys later.
Good call.